Hey y'all, welcome to Gadfly, the podcast about third parties, fringe candidates, and just generally weird American electoral history. I'm Dusty Wilson.
I'm Una O'Leary.
And man, Una, I do not have much to talk about today, other than the topic we're going to talk about. But I do want to say I'm a bit of a soda nerd. You throw me a new flavor of soda, I'm going to drink it because I'm a basic human like that.
Oh my God, Dusty, do we have sponsorship?
Oh, no, we don't. We don't, because currently I'm drinking Coca-Cola Starlight.
Excuse me?
I'm going to show this to you in the camera and see if it'll come up. It is space flavored.
No. Did they get bought out by Elon Musk?
Oh, God, no. I mean, luckily, no. Supposedly, it tastes like space because a number of years ago, there was a study that posited that the center of the universe tastes something like raspberries.
This person was high.
Yeah.
Continue.
Oh, 100%. And so it's essentially smoky raspberry Coke.
I'm not intrigued.
It's better than it should be. I'll say that. It will definitely never come back after this first making. I've never known of a new soda that is unique in its experiments that succeeds. And we saw Mango Pepsi fall apart this year. There was
that was this year?
That was this year's Mango Pepsi.
Wow.
And like there was like some sort of hot cinnamon Pepsi, I think, that came out for Christmas a couple years ago, like pre-pandemic.
It's called Dr. Pepper and leave it alone.
Yeah, it's like, what if we made bad Dr. Pepper? People would like that, right?
What if we made Fireball whiskey, but took out what actually is the joy of it?
Well, that's 100% what it was. It's just like, I'm white, but I shouldn't feel like this is too hot for a soda.
You know what? I'm 16, but I'm not that cool.
And they're never going to bring back the experiments that are actually good, like Christmas Pepsi. That was a fucking champion of a soda in the early 2000s. Tasted like gingerbread. It was fucking great.
Oh, no.
It was, I had no clue it was only going to be there for 1 month of my entire life. Otherwise, I'd have bought an entire case from that Walmart.
Not enough people bought it to use to glaze their ham. That was the real
issue.
Marketing miss.
So it's been a nice experiment. I'll enjoy it while it exists, and then I'll have to go back to the occasional basic cherry Coke and wonder what could have been.
Genuinely, when you first described Starlight Coca-Cola, I was just like, oh, so because it's in space, which is a vacuum, it tastes like nothing, and this is just the new post-COVID world we're going to experience. That's like,
oh my God,
you're going to have this Coke, and it's fine that you can't taste anything anymore.
Man, fucking nihilist Coke, that's a product right there. Ugh.
Don't stare too long into the Starlight Coke.
What is this, Coke
or
Void?
Might stare back at you.
That's a good opening. I think we can be proud of that.
What do we do again?
Oh man, we're talking about politics as usual. Because Una, we are back. We are back with our much beloved series Preview 2022. And we're going to be here for a bit.
Boy,
because
what state are we landing in now?
Well, Ohio was a rough one. I think we could admit that was really difficult. We're moving into what can also be kind of considered to be the bellwether of American politics. The next door neighbor of Ohio, Pennsylvania.
Ooh.
It is, a very odd state that has a pair of Democratic strongholds in Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, and then the rest of the state is just red as fuck.
Yeah, and also just like, does it exist? Like, I think of the Amish more than I think of actual Pennsylvania residents.
I mean, the Amish are in Pennsylvania, so
No, you're right. I am diminishing already the Amish. They do exist in Pennsylvania. They are Pennsylvanian residents, but you know what I mean. People with zippers and like maybe a dial-up.
Yeah, and I used to be one of those people too, because I grew up in Ohio, but for a brief period of like about 6 years, I lived in Pennsylvania because my dad had one of those jobs where you move around as a kid. It was really great. So I lived in the Gettysburg area for a bit of time, and let me tell you, don't miss it. Glad to not be there.
Lukewarm take.
Look, it is was not treated kindly by the youth when I lived there. So I am, it's a great park, great national event park.
Yeah, Gettysburg.
Yeah, like the battlefield's really great. If you like ghost stories, chock-a-block of ghost stories.
You are drawn to the ghosts.
Yeah, a little bit. But yeah, and so we're going to Pennsylvania because it is kind of a bit of a bellwether, the proverbial canary in a coal mine to see how things are going. And we're going to be sticking with Pennsylvania for a bit because they don't have one, not two, but to my count, 5 races that are worth looking into in the upcoming. And I promise you this, Una.
Okay.
2 of them will have fun things to talk about that aren't going to be utterly depressing.
Yay! Hey, I'll take that ratio.
Great. In future weeks, we're going to talk about the Senate race, which has currently made national news because television spokesman and actual surgeon, Dr. Mehmet Oz, is running for Senate. And also, fun fact, Mehmet Oz has never lived in Pennsylvania his entire life.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. But from everything I've read so far, he's actually a very good surgeon, like a highly respectable, talented surgeon.
I don't know. That makes me angrier, frankly.
I don't blame you. I do not blame you. Like anyone who has a genuine, amazing talent and chooses instead, like, no, I'm going to make my money being the worst. Yeah, fuck them.
I'm going to shill for these like green coffee beans, become Oprah's next pet.
Yeah, it's weird going into like the crunchy crystal world, but also kind of maintaining these weird puritanical ideas of weight and body shape and things like that. It's a weird niche he has carved out with a bunch of other charlatans and fuckwads, but here we are. So we'll save that for next week, talking about the Pennsylvania Senate race, because that one does have a very interesting Republican and Democratic primary coming up. The week after that, we're going to be talking about 3 congressional races I'm very excited about. We're going to be focusing on 2 Republican, 1 Democrat for that sort of primaries for that. So this week, that leaves us the Pennsylvania gubernatorial race, which, oh fucking Lord, if you thought the Ohio Senate race was full of dicks.
And I did.
This one is also full of dicks.
Oh, no.
But the one difference we get is we actually get to start with, dare I say, one of the best people running for office this year in any race.
Oh.
So we can at least start with some positivity and then watch it all fall apart.
Oh.
Because as a reminder, when we go over candidates, we start from least likely to win to most likely to win.
Oh, no. I was wondering why we were starting with the good bits.
Yeah. And this time around, everyone had a website that works. Everyone has a Twitter that works. So no one got immediately shoved to the bottom for doing no work at all. Everyone's turned in their homework. I'm very impressed. A+ is all around.
Yeah. Shout out to Pennsylvania.
Like, I mean, look, there is one big thing that we'll talk about that I have a huge issue with, and we'll get there.
Okay.
But for now, let's settle on this oasis of good. And for that, we're going to be talking about Dr. Nche Zama. So Nche was born in Cameroon to a very impoverished family. He would state that he and his 5 siblings lived in a thatch hut throughout their lives and that his parents were illiterate. As he grew, his parents would realize that Nche was actually incredibly fucking smart. By the age of 14, he had skipped 4 grades and had just graduated high school.
Oh, damn.
The problem, though, is that his family was also about to be hit by really awful tragedy. His mother was pregnant, about to give birth to his newest sibling. There were complications in the birth, and since their village was extremely far away from any hospital or any doctoral care that could have come in, she and the child ended up dying in childbirth.
Oh.
And in that moment, Nche said he wanted to pursue a career to ensure that that sort of tragedy would never happen again, or at least that he could control that happening far less when he was involved.
Yeah.
So his father, recognizing this talent and this skill, just made a very big move. He sold the family land and the house, spent the majority of the money on a one-way plane ticket to New York City, gave him $20 and flew out to New York City. So at this time, Nche does have a student visa. So he is coming here with like a plan and everything. But $20 in New York City is not going to help much of anyone.
No, and all like truly no hyperbole, like landed in the great US of A with $20 in my pocket and now running for office.
And easily one of the most intimidating cities we have. I mean, each city has their own thing to make people freak out. I mean, in Philadelphia, they throw batteries at Santa Claus. Yeah,
it's the least that they do.
In Los Angeles, everyone's some kind of demon. In New York City, people have very strong opinions and will say them all the time at you.
Yes.
And so he's just going to the city fresh out of Cameroon, just ready to get to learning. And he would state for the first 2 months that he was in New York City, he was homeless, just going to school during the day and nowhere to go at night.
Wow.
And eventually a family would take him in. And from there, he was able to focus 100% on his studies, to the point that he ended up at Harvard in their medical program. He'd graduate from there. He would do his residency at the Cleveland Clinic. And also while I was at Harvard, he ended up getting 3 degrees when he was at Harvard. He would end up getting his medical degree, a PhD in chemistry, and a master's degree in management. And once again, earned them all at Harvard.
God damn. Good for him. Good. I love these stories.
So since then, Dr. Zama has become a cardiothoracic surgeon. And yeah, I had to look that up. I'm not a smart guy like Dr. Zama. I'm a dumb individual. And
point to the part that you work on.
yeah, inside the torso is the answer. All the bits in there, he focuses on. If it's an organ and it's in your torso, he can fix it.
Got it. Nice.
And so since becoming a cardiothoracic surgeon, he has led 5 different hospitals in the cardiothoracic surgery departments. He teaches classes at UPenn, one of the more accessible Ivy Leagues. And he also spends his free time giving away as much of his money as he possibly can. He's paid it forward to all of his nieces and nephews and has guaranteed them that he will pay for their university education no matter where they go and what they want to do. He's adopted an entire elementary school class in Philadelphia, guaranteeing that they never have to pay for any future education.
Oh, wow.
And has repeatedly gone back to Cameroon to give surgeries for free to anyone who needs it.
Oh.
And he is noted as being the very first person to ever perform a cardiothoracic surgery in Cameroon. And, best I can tell, this isn't some kind of front. We're not going to turn the coin over and he's just like, fuck Jews. He's a genuinely good guy who actually cares and is very generous and wants to make sure everyone else can have the advantages that he was so lucky to get.
Yeah, didn't get a copy of an Ayn Rand novel placed into his hand at an unfortunate moment at 14. And
I know we've had a lot of tragedy, but I did sell the Landons for this crate of Atlas Shrugged. Yeah, and so this makes him a bit of a rarity in the Pennsylvania GOP as being a kind, considerate person who just wants everyone to get things better.
Back the fuck up, Dusty. Yep. He's in the GOP.
He's a Republican.
He's not one of ours.
Yeah, nope. He is one of those fiscal conservative Republicans who is just like, I just want to make education more affordable. I want to improve medicine, and I want to what was the other topic? I want to lower taxes. It's real Republican stuff. But it's that 1970s Republican, not right. An ounce of culture war in his entire website.
Right, but okay. Fine. This does put into perspective my uneasiness about the adopted elementary class, because that is great, but what if that is still a lottery? Those kids, and there's a class next door who do not get that guarantee because not everyone is as generous. You could just, I don't know, tax the rich.
Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong. And I think from what I've read, Dr. Zama definitely acknowledges that it's, I think even he would admit that a lot of his success, despite his massive intelligence, does come from a bit of luck, because he had the luck of someone taking him in. He had the luck of making $20 work. He had the luck of a father who was so willing to do whatever it needed for him to have his education, and these are things that I think, he has enough money to be able to extend that to some people, just not everyone. And so he does what he can personally.
Yeah. Which is so much better than so many other people. I will absolutely give him that.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Over.
That being said, this is going to be a theme. If we had a bingo card just for Preview 2022, this would be the center square. His platform has no clear plans.
Oh my gosh.
It's just I support education. I support healthcare. It's yeah, man. Good. I guess.
How?
Yeah. It should be affordable.
How?
Buy a shirt.
Flat tax. Next question.
Oh, no. Luckily, no flat tax. Not an ounce of flat tax this whole episode.
Nice.
And so, he's a nice guy, doesn't have any clear plans, and of course, he's polling at 2%.
Oh, Lord.
Next up, we have a trio of people all polling at 3%, pretty much meaning that they're never going to have a chance to win, but they're running, so we'll talk about them. And we're going to start with a person who I really thought would have a stronger amount of establishment support considering who he is. But he is a political consultant, attorney, and the vice chairman of CPAC, a guy by the name of Charlie Garrow. So Charlie was born, in his own words, I will quote, the slums of Brazil.
Like the favelas?
Yeah.
Okay.
He would be adopted by a pair of missionaries who took him back to America. He ended up getting his bachelor's degree from Messiah College and then his law degree from Villanova. He then entered into a very long working relationship with conservative hyperlegend Ronald Reagan. He would advise Ron on presidential campaigns, matters of policy during both of his terms. Even after Reagan left the White House, Charlie would remain close. So much so that when Reagan passed on, Charlie was there to help make the funeral arrangements for the family. So Charlie would eventually start trying to run for office himself. In 1996, he'd run for U.S. Congress in Pennsylvania's 19th district in the GOP primary against incumbent William Goodling. He'd nearly pull off the opposite, losing by only 10%. So he tried again in 1998, and he ended up doing a lot worse, losing 68 to 32. But you know what? We're going to try again in 2000. I got a good feeling about this.
Yep.
Just keep doing the same fucking thing. And this time, he finished 4th out of 5 with 13%. William Goodling once again cruised to a victory in the primary.
Keep fucking that chicken, though.
You got to. Otherwise, who's gonna, I guess. So after that embarrassment, Charlie has waited 2 decades to try once again to win public office. And of course, he's doing so without a fucking platform on his website. His page, it's more like a personal page than it is a campaign site. There's no platform, there's no issues. There is a segment called the best 60 seconds of your week where he does like one of those 1 minute grind your gears segments, but just for his website.
Okay.
Yeah, and not really a whole lot of policy. For the past entire month of March, he's just talked about NCAA basketball.
I mean, it sounds like he just needs TikTok. Like he should
not
get
give
out
this
of
man TikTok. Like, if there was like a geriatric TikTok, that's, you know what? Maybe you're right.
Just drop out and do TikTok videos.
Yeah.
I think that would just make him happy.
It very well might. But what he does have along with his little minute segment each week is a decent amount of controversy. On July of 2021, a motorcycle was passing Charlie's car on the highway. According to police findings, the motorcycle merged too soon into Charlie's lane, and the driver of the motorcycle wrecked onto the hood of Charlie's car before flying over the roof, landing on the road, and then being hit by multiple cars behind Charlie.
Oh my God.
The motorcycle driver would be pronounced dead, and coroners would later note that heroin and alcohol had been found in his system, which is, kind of weird, mainly because Charlie's legal team had been making the claim that Charlie only discovered the wreck and hadn't really been a part of it.
What?
So it turns out there were some witnesses to everything that had happened. And so Charlie's legal team was just like, oh man, he just found that motorcycle. What witnesses said was, and this is a construction crew on the turnpike, we saw this guy's car with a motorcycle lodged in the front and sparks going everywhere, driving at full speed.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's very different. That's even more different than this guy is just like, oh, he just clipped into the lane too quick, and it's unfortunate.
Which he very well might have done, and Charlie panicked and just didn't stop.
Yeah.
Because according to the construction workers, there was a lot of sparks and it was very loud. So even if he was just like, oh, did I hit something? I guess not. I can't hear anything. He would have seen the fire explosions around his car and the loud noises. Eventually, he would come to a stop about a mile or two from the accident.
Good Lord.
Prosecutors have stated they're still considering charging Charlie with a hit and run for failing to stop or even call the police about the wreck, but nothing has come of that since November. So it's kind of looking like Charlie might get away with this.
Good Lord.
But he has gained the endorsement of Pennsylvania Congressman G.T. Thompson. So he has that and 3% of the vote and a dead man on his conscience.
Oh my God.
It's great. He could run for attorney general in South Dakota. He'll be fine.
Yes, there is an opening, maybe. But yeah, like the fact that the toxicology report comes back and it's like the motorcycle driver had been doing drugs, it's like all the stuff that's like, this is a very unfortunate accident. Mm-hmm. But then one, you're a legal team. Like, fine, you have a legal team. You know what? Everyone should have a lawyer. Fair enough.
Agreed.
But then
100%.
Your legal team comes back and it's like, Charlie was nowhere near this crash. And it's like, sir, that wasn't we didn't ask a question.
Yeah.
Like, there was no question.
Well, and then it's the coroner after they're like, yeah, he just found the guy. The coroner's just like, about that. About that. So that's Charlie Garreau, some reason running for governor and having no luck whatsoever. Next, we have a millennial busybody making us all look really bad, County Commissioner Joe Gale. Joe was born in 1989, and he'd end up running his first campaign for office in 2015 when he was 26. He would run for county commissioner in Montgomery County, which is a suburb to the northwest of Philadelphia. The place is heavily Democratic, but the county commission set up in a way to guarantee that there's at least one minority party on the commission. The election's a top three, so top three vote getters get on. There can only be 2 people from each party that can run in the general election. So pretty much guaranteeing at least one person from the losing party will be there. And lucky for Joe, he ended up getting that position with 21% of the vote, much to the chagrin of the local county GOP. Because old Joe Gale, his big thing is that no one in the world is as conservative as him, and everyone's a hack because you already have a job in politics, and clearly you're all bought and sold, but I'm not. I'm Joe Gale. No one knows where I came from or how I got here.
Sweet Jesus, the arrogance of youth personified.
Look, we were all uppity sons of bitches when we were in our 20s. I think we all admit that.
2002, Una was a terrible human being.
Oh no, I would not trust mid 2000s Dusty with much. And no, but this guy gets to commission an entire county, but luckily is outvoted every goddamn day. So that's the kind of fun dude at a party Joe is. But it also doesn't help that he's just what's the word I'm looking for? Really racist. Extremely fucking racist.
Oh no.
So spoiler alert, Joe does win re-election in 2019 again, much to the chagrin of the county party, but it's the time of Trumpism and that sort of like pretentious bravado was really big, and you
Yeah.
could run with it and, do well. And so while Joe's there, the George Floyd protests end up happening. And he's one of those people who are just like, oh, the cities have burned to the ground. There is devastation and destruction fucking everywhere, and we have to stop this. He refers to Black Lives Matter as, quote, a hate group committing urban domestic terror. And he recently has made a whole scene, or did so on the county commission, about how everyone's so mad about January 6th, but they're perfectly fine about the George Floyd protests.
Sir!
That last bit argument prompted fellow Commissioner Val Arkush to call him racist on the record and have him
Good.
censured.
Good.
Joe also got sued recently by the federal government because they saw he was blocking his constituents on Twitter, which is a crime. If you're
Oh my God, he's that guy.
He's one of those guys.
Okay.
Joe has also made the claim. I can't really prove this to be true or false, mostly because I got tired this week and didn't want to dive into this rabbit hole. But he claims to be the very first elected official to endorse Donald Trump in 2016.
Great.
The way I'm thinking is like, if you want to make that claim, fuck it, sure.
Yeah,
I'll give that to you. You can have that for free.
Yeah, I'm not going to your LinkedIn post. I'm not going to see it.
Of course it'd be on LinkedIn. So why the fuck shouldn't this child run for governor and run an entire fucking state? Well, the fun thing is that Joe has a website that I would kind of compare to a GeoCities conspiracy page.
He should know better.
He really should. It's one of those
Squarespace at least.
Exactly. Yeah, that would have been an improvement. And so I don't know if you've been to a lot of conspiracy websites before. The typical theme that you're going to get with them is you get a white background so you can read the black text really easily, but also so the colored text really pops out. Like anytime you want to make a point, the red text is there and you're like, oh shit, this is serious. Right. I can at least skim if I'm short on time.
Right, because the author has already overused bold and they know it. So it's time to switch to purple. Look,
you can try to use bold italics. It's going to look silly. And so you'll get entire paragraphs of text. And then that will typically be broken up by a JPEG of some sort of meme or statement of some sort. You'll get a couple of those. You might get a few YouTube videos embedded on the page as well. But there's really no rhyme or reason of what comes next. It's just like stream of consciousness. I thought of this. Here it is. And that's a whole lot of what his fucking site looks like.
Wow.
And of course, I started looking for a platform. There isn't one, but he is mad about one thing, a little something called Act 77. And this particular act simply gave Pennsylvanians a 50-day window in which they could mail in their ballots to vote. That's it. That's all it does.
Yeah.
And Joe's pissed. He's so mad at this.
Oh, because it doesn't disenfranchise.
Yeah, because there should be no mail-in balloting fucking ever, unless you're a soldier and you can't be here, or if you have like some sort of medical reason. I don't know how he's going to propose people prove that shit. But yeah, he thinks every vote, no matter what, should be in person and with a photo ID, no matter what.
Yep. On your feet, fuck your ramps.
Yep.
Just get her done.
Mm-hmm. And as someone whose driver's license has consistently made me look like the world's worst dealer of pot, I'm not a huge fan of people comparing that picture to what I actually look like and being like, yeah, I guess that's you.
Oh, I've had it where the very first time I ever voted, it was like a senatorial off-year election, and I was so excited. And I get there, and the old biddy checking like driver's license and your card stating that you're a voter. Well, the card that got sent to me saying like you're a voter had me as Donna O'Leary.
Oh, and no.
She was so ready to turn my ass away until like a slightly younger biddy came over and was just like, no, obviously it's a mistake. Go ahead.
Yeah. Look, you let Donna O'Leary vote. She's a good American.
Donna O'Leary still has rights, goddammit.
I'm Donna O'Leary and I'm not going to fucking stand for this.
I approve this message.
So there is one more thing that Joe wants, and he just wants to lower the gas tax, which fuck it, whatever, man. If you can lower it without cutting really vital programs, have fun, man. Do your thing. So on his website, he has promised that he will expand on his plans for the state on his website. He still hasn't done that. Primary's coming up on May 17th, so I mean, clock's ticking, Joe. I don't know what you're waiting for. I don't know what draft you're in right now, but shit's got to get fucking done. But he does offer a unique program called the Cup of Joe program, in which you submit your name and address, and he will come by your house to do a campaign speech in your living room.
Ew.
Yep. He's been doing that since 2015. It's how he got on the county commissioner board to begin with.
First of all, Cup of Joe as a program sounds terrible.
Yep.
Like, ugh, Craigslist killing terrible.
Hey, I'm a 25-year-old male. I'm looking to have a cup of joe with someone who doesn't have close ties to family.
Oh my God.
If you don't tell your friends where you go at night, please email me as quickly as possible.
I only hope that like old classmates of his sign each other up like as a gag.
Oh my God, just the entire football team just hanging on to this one amount of
Just
bullying they're allowed to do.
just sending each other cup of and then he shows up and the person's like, ah, fuck.
Tell us your policy, nerd.
Yeah.
Let me guess, you don't fucking have one. Oh.
Did Denise send you? God damn it.
I keep telling my people to check the addresses and names. I'm sick of this. And to make things even more fun, his brother Sean is running for US Senate, and we'll talk about that weirdo later.
Great.
And so for there, we move on to, dare I say, a legit candidate, a former congresswoman, and the only female running in this entire race in any party. Her name is Melissa Hart. So Melissa was born in 1962 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. She graduated from Washington and Jefferson College with a double BA in business and German. She would follow this up by getting her law degree at the University of Pittsburgh. At the age of 28, she'd win her first ever campaign, defeating Democratic incumbent Joe Rigoli for a seat in the state Senate. She would then win 2 more re-elections before running for U.S. Congress in Pennsylvania's 4th District in 2002, which she easily won. And then she would win re-election to that a couple more times. And yeah, I'm going through this really, really fast. And that's mainly because her career is just kind of there. I'm not saying she didn't accomplish anything. I'm just saying, she wasn't out there screaming at newspapers and, trying to get on the TV all the time. She was doing her job.
Yeah.
And at most running anti-choice rallies. That's her big thing. She does not like abortion. She seems to be good friends with Patricia Heaton from Everybody Loves Raymond.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And so by 2006, she's looking like this rising star within the Republican ranks. They're putting her on committees. They're having her run shit. Kind of seemed like, she might be able to move up into some leadership positions. She's, a young face in a party where both parties are so desperate for youth to show, importance and that they, are connecting with the kids and understand what's happening. And so in 2006, she's running against this guy named Jason Altmaier. Now, Jason is a complete fucking unknown. He's a healthcare executive. He's 38. No one really knows who the fuck he is. And he seems like this sacrificial lamb character that the Democrats are throwing out just to take part. And 2006 actually ends up being an incredibly good year for the Democrats. In a complete rebuke to George W. Bush's second-term victory, Democrats come out in force and start winning multiple elections they didn't expect, including this race against Melissa Hart. Altmaier ends up winning 52 to 48. Melissa would try to win back her seat in 2008, and once again, Jason would win 56 to 44. And by this point, Melissa's star was completely out. She'd attempt to make a comeback in 2012, running for her old state Senate seat, but she'd end up losing the GOP primary in that. And from there, she returned to practicing law and stayed out of politics until now. As is tradition, her platform is vague, has no talking points and no details, except for one. And I'm hungry for some policy, so we're going to get into this. Melissa wants to keep Pennsylvania from entering the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative. I know it's a very exciting topic, so hold on to every seat you have. So the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative was started in 2009 and includes all the states along the Atlantic coast from Maine to Virginia and also Vermont as well. The initiative's goal is to reduce carbon dioxide production in the 203 fossil fuel power plants in all the participating states. To date, the RGGI claims to have reduced carbon emissions by 50% in all their power plants. Other studies by independent groups have found that the initiative has saved hundreds of lives in the immediate due to reducing asthma attacks and found that nearly $3 billion in net economic benefit had been caused due to the cleaner air. The program has been such a success that Pennsylvania is in the process of joining, and North Carolina is considering applying as well and joining by 2023.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's one of those rare things where they plan to do something and it worked really well.
Yeah, which is great. And also, yeah, I would really love Pennsylvania to join since they have all of that like first gen fracking fuckery.
But of course, there's a contingency within the Pennsylvania legislature that doesn't want to do that, because if you're cutting down carbon dioxide, that probably means you're buying less coal and natural gas, which means you're hurting the industry. And, can't fucking have that, I guess. So yeah, and the other thing that's really, really cool about the RGGI is the money that has been saved has actually gone to other projects, specifically weatherization projects, to ensure that during the winter, people's homes stay warmer for longer. Typically, it's going to be like putting insulation in the walls, or even as simple as putting up plastic wrap isn't the term. There's specific terms for it, but you put it along the lining of your windows. It glues to it, and then you run a hairdryer over it, and it tightens up.
Yeah. Yeah, I've done it before. I've seen neighbors do it. Yeah. It's super effective.
Oh yeah. I do it here in my office. It's the simplest solution, and it helps so many fucking people if you're doing that for them for free and helping them put it in. And so that's what the RGI has been doing in all these states.
Oh, what a mitzvah.
Which once again lowers heating costs, lowers the amount of emissions you're creating. It's a really, I looked hard to try to find any downsides to this program. They don't exist.
Yeah, and if you're coming from like low income households too, it's like it gets so like look at Texas. I'm sorry, but it can get so expensive to keep your homes warm. And if you're somewhere like Chicago where you just don't know when winter is going to end,
I think we just got spring, so
do not curse it, Dusty. I don't trust it at all.
Yeah, well, it's also one of those things that like I'm going to go on a small weatherization rant because things are already so exciting.
Do it, yeah.
There aren't a lot of organizations that offer that for free. Typically, one organization will cover it for a large area just because it's a program that's easy to administer, especially if you're just putting in that sheeting to keep in the heat. But it's also, I feel like, so underused. And so the fact that this program is going out there and doing it and making it known is so helpful and so great. So fuck you, Melissa. Fuck you and your dumb idea. Go back to not being good at politics.
Yeah. Whose shale pocket are you in?
I mean, she is in Western Pennsylvania, so that does kind of make sense. But,
yeah. I too have seen The Deer Hunter. I get it.
So rounding out the bottom tier with people who have no chance in winning, we have State Senator Jake Corman. Jake's polling at about 4% right now. So everything I'm about to tell you, just keep that in mind. Jake was born in 1964 in Bellefonte, Pennsylvania. He'd get his bachelor's degree from Penn State University. And I'm not really sure what he did between 1986 and 1993, but it was enough to get him elected to the head of the Pennsylvania Builders Association. But jobs really aren't the kind of thing that Jake has to worry about, mainly because his dad is State Senator Doyle Corman, or as Politics Pennsylvania would describe him, the godfather of Center County GOP. And Center County is where State College exists, which is where Penn State is, making it kind of a weirdly powerful little spot.
Yeah.
Doyle had been the region's state senator since 1977, and after 21 years, he was finally ready to retire. And who better to take the reins than his son, Jake? As one of my favorite websites to go to look up news would name it, he is an Air Force general, HEIR. Yep, it's... Yeah, shout out to RRH Elections, the one Republican site I will read on a regular basis.
Yeah, with goodies like that.
Yeah, it's just like, I'll take your dad humor and your really good coverage of small elections and try to ignore the rest.
Are you acknowledging the nepotism? Yes?
Oh, great. Yes. Nepotism on both sides, they fucking hate it, and I appreciate that. Yeah, so Jake he's essentially gifted a state senate position. The local GOP ensures that no one else runs against him in the primary in a very red district, and it's all Jake's to lose. And he ends up just barely winning 52-48. And that's a really impressive for the Democrats, especially in this area. So the next time the election was up in 2002, the Democrats decided to go all out and not run anyone.
In a college town? Dusty, why?
The Libertarians had to step in and run a candidate just to make sure that Jake wasn't just given a win. And Jake ends up beating the Libertarian 93-7.
Oh my God.
So a thing I did mention is, like, it's not like Jake is a political novice. He did have one political job before this. From 1994 to 1998, he was the state director for Central Pennsylvania for Senator Rick Santorum, a man I consistently forget was a senator. I always assume someone that bugfuck is a congressman and nothing higher.
He's one of those personalities I am always delighted to realize I have forgotten existed, because he was just genuinely terrible, and he also was just like such a shibboleth for so long.
He is just so painfully irrelevant at this point that it's when he pops up, he just looks so sad, and it's glorious. I'll drink his tears.
And it's always like, hey, remember when Dad Savage made you like anal sex leftover?
Oh my God. Yeah. For those of you who don't know, you should definitely look up the alternative definition for Santorum.
Yeah.
It is. I don't think we would get kicked off of all the podcasting channels if we said what it was. I think it's better to read it.
It's so much. Yeah. Just dive into our late teens and early 20s.
Exactly. But Rick Santorum was very well known for being very homophobic, very transphobic, just all the phobics for anything that wasn't heterosexual and manly.
Yeah.
So he was like the state director for Central Pennsylvania for that guy. And it was like, all right, good enough. You get Dad's job. Have fun.
Oh, it's a little tough. Good Lord.
So he beats the Libertarian, and Jake would be reelected 4 more terms. And since then, he also became the state Senate majority leader in 2015. So he's not just a state senator, he's running shit.
Oh, no. Oh, God.
And what does one man do with all that power? Well, in 2015, he would call to remove sanctions that had been placed on Penn State for hiding years worth of child abuse by assistant coach Jerry Sandusky. So I'll admit, this is a bit of a gray area because I went into this being very angry. So this focuses around Jerry Sandusky. For those of you who are lucky enough to not know, he was an assistant coach on the Penn State University football team, and he would eventually be found guilty on 45 charges of child sexual abuse, sentenced to a minimum of 30 years in prison and a maximum of 60. But the issue that Jake had would spawn from the investigation done by the Penn State Board of Trustees. They'd end up hiring a guy by the name of Louis Freeh, who used to run the FBI for a number of years. And Louis looked into these charges of what Sandusky had done, and what he found was a history of people covering up for Sandusky at every turn. According to Freeh, head coach Joe Paterno, school president Graham Spanier, vice president Gary Schultz, and athletic director Tim Curley had known of the allegations against Sandusky since at least 1998 and, quote, had shown total and consistent disregard for the safety and welfare of Sandusky's child victims and empowered Sandusky to continue his crimes. And in response to these findings, the NCAA placed sanctions on the university, which included a $60 million fine where all the cash would go towards an endowment for preventing child abuse. The Big Ten, the conference that Penn State plays in, also gave Penn State a $13 million fine for the same reason. Now, Jake saw all of this and the complete disrespect that he felt had been given to local legend Joe Paterno and sued the NCAA, claiming that they had worked directly with Louis Freeh to create these accusations. So there would be a bit of concern from various commentators who would look into the Freeh report, finding just some stuff that really wasn't matching up and some details that weren't really solid. They seem to be more based on guesses and estimations than actual hard proof, which is, so not great. There were also emails shown that Louis Freeh and the NCAA were in direct communication with each other during this time. The thing that really knocked things down, though, is a bunch of emails came out from the NCAA where people were just constantly questioning whether or not they could actually fine Penn State $60 million. Most of them didn't think they had the legal authority to do it. One would say, quote, "We're banking on the fact that Penn State is so embarrassed by what happened, they'll do anything." So with that coming into focus, the courts kind of had no choice but to side with Jake Corman and rescind the fine, noting that, hey, you're right, you don't have the legal authority to do this.
Come on. God damn it.
Yeah, I think it's based on the fact that the NCAA is not a judicial system, so they weren't able to, and that they also didn't give Joe Paterno and all these other people due process during this. They just read the report and then gave the fines, and so it was based a lot on that.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, it's one of those, I guess, God damn it, legal things where it's like, yeah, it's technically right. The best kind of correct. And while that sucks, we do have something that's a little more concrete. In 2019, Jake would go what the kids call viral. So a bill would be presented by Jake Corman and the Republicans to officially end Pennsylvania's General Assistance Program. The program was made to ensure that people who don't qualify for TANF, or temporary assistance for needy families, that these people would attain funds that they needed for general supplies and care. The peak amount of funds that would be given would be $205 a month for one person, or $316 a month for a two-person household. Now, typically, this money wouldn't be used for food. That's for SNAP. It wouldn't be used for rent or utilities. There's specific programs for that. This would mostly be general assistance for buying toothpaste or deodorant, or any sort of thing that'd be hygiene or keeping, like if you needed to do small repairs around the house, if you needed like, like caulk to cover up a nail on the wall or something like that. So it's to ensure that people have the money for the stuff for their own well-being without having to worry about dipping into rent or food.
Oh.
And so Jake Corman and then the Republicans were like, no, fuck that. Get rid of it. Don't need it. And so during the debate for this, Democratic State Senator Kate Muth wanted to read an impact statement from a man named John Boyd. John had formerly been homeless, and he's currently relying on general assistance to buy toothpaste and deodorant without having to worry about spending the money for other things. As she began to read it into the record, with Democratic Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman presiding, John Corman went ballistic and threw what I can only describe as a grown man temper tantrum. He yelled over Senator Muth the entire time she read the impact statement, calling for points of order, claiming that Senator Muth was not allowed to be reading that statement, and that Lieutenant Governor Fetterman was a partisan hack for even letting it happen.
Wow.
Afterwards, Senator Muth would say in a press conference, quote, "If you're not here to help people, then why are you even here?" And I'm not going to play it because I watched it and I'm still fucking pissed off at it.
Yeah.
If I feel like if I was there, a coffee cup would have been thrown at that man's face at some point. Like I'd be in jail for assault. It's just.
And for our female listeners, is like we have all witnessed either to ourselves or to someone else, like a grown man throw a hissy fit at a woman.
Yeah.
Unprompted. Like it's crazy. Yeah. It doesn't take much.
Yeah. And Katie, she goes through the whole fucking thing. Like she just gets louder and more impassioned as she's reading it while this fucking child is just screaming, point of order, You're not allowed to do this, and just like screaming like a fucking child.
Good Lord.
And to make things even worse, the vote was going to pass anyway. Republicans had the numbers, and he still wasn't even going to let this happen. He just wanted to get to the vote and shut down general assistance, which Pennsylvania did on August 1st, 2019. Yeah, if you're not here to help people, then why are you even here?
Because Daddy was retiring.
Look, am I not going to take Dadams' job? Dadams gave me that job for Christmas one year. Oh, rump.
It's the family job. I don't understand the question.
My God. Yeah, I feel like if I was in the Pennsylvania State Senate, I believe I would refer to that one times too many. Just like, look, we didn't get this job from Dad, just like Jake, but
Yep.
Just unprompted. And to make this guy even worse, he's actually one of the huge reasons that 2020, the election, turned into such a conspiracy shit show. So I don't know if you've been on Twitter for the past couple days, but our old pal JD Vance was very quick to point out after the French election that, man, it must be really amazing to live in a first world country like France where you find out who wins the election so fast.
Yes. And then everyone else was just like, motherfucker, like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. And look, I'll give him that. It must be really nice to be in France and to get the numbers really quick. But here's how that fucking happens, John Donald Hamilton Vance. For one, France is smaller than America. Let's move that aside. Two, when they have a presidential election, that is the only thing on the ballot. There's no like down race elections. There's no points of order. There's no constitutional amendments you have to vote for.
Yeah,
it's
there's
president.
No referendum that is so crazily worded that you're like, is this a double negative? And am I in favor of it?
Am I being pranked? Yeah, it's just you vote for president and then you go home and eat a baguette. So by doing that, it makes counting the votes really fucking easy. Also, the whole thing's done by popular vote, so you don't have to wait for every single state to decide when they're done. Also, every polling location is legally required to report their totals by the next morning, which, yeah, that should maybe be a thing. And also, the reason France knows who wins so fast is because they have a really kind of cool polling system to give them an idea of who wins like an hour after everything's closed. So before the election, they'll pick out a number of polling stations and make sure that they're very well represented. So yeah, rural, urban, north, south, old, young, just make sure you get all the demographics across the board. After everything closes down, you count the first 400 votes, and then you report those results to the polling company. The polling companies then collect all that information, do an algorithm, and from that can say, we expected this percent for every single candidate for the entire country. And that's how we knew within 10 minutes that Macron and Marine Le Pen were going to the final two showdown. And yeah, those numbers can change. For a while, it was looking like it would in France, that Mélenchon was going to pull the upset, that he might beat out Le Pen. Didn't happen. Came really close, and actually came really close to the numbers people were expecting based on updated numbers. But that's how they know that fast that that's what's happening.
Wow.
And old Jake decided, no, we're not going to do that. So, as I stated before, Pennsylvania had passed a law allowing 50 days of mail-in voting. Now, the smart thing that a lot of people wanted to do was keep a running tally of the votes that came in so that when election night comes, you can just automatically report the mail-in votes once everything is closed. And Jake said, fuck you. We're not going to do that. You are not allowed to touch those votes until the polls are closed, and then you can start counting them.
Because it's like Christmas.
Yeah, I think part of the worry, like I'm giving them a huge benefit of the doubt on this, but I think part of the worry is that someone's going to leak these numbers and it's going to create an unfair advantage for one of the parties. You know, a thing that has never happened ever.
Right. People are still going to vote the way they're voting.
So yeah, and so he said, we're not going to do that. And so what ended up happening in Pennsylvania is you have a very close race. You have all the rural counties getting their votes in early because they have less to count. And so it starts to look like Donald Trump has a huge lead in Pennsylvania. And as Pittsburgh and Philadelphia start catching up later in the night and over the next few days, it kind of makes it look like the Democrats, I don't know, they just knew how many votes to add. And they probably all came from the mail-in votes and they could just add in whatever the hell they wanted. And all of a sudden you start getting these conspiracies about that's how Donald Trump lost Pennsylvania. Yeah. And so it's one of the most frustrating things because it's a simple process to make everything look rigged when it's just incompetent.
Yeah.
But that level of treason just wouldn't be enough for a boy who inherited his job from Dadams. The same election season, Democrat Jim Brewster would end up defeating Republican Nicole Ziccarelli by 67 votes for a state Senate election. Recounts would occur, but by January, the Department of the Commonwealth confirmed that yes, Jim Brewster had just barely won. The thing, though, is that Nicole Ziccarelli refused to concede, and she claimed that the vote was rigged. She also appealed to the federal courts, who seemed they had zero interest in actually hearing the case after the state Supreme Court had already ruled that everything was legal and that the Commonwealth was right. So when it came time to actually seat Brewster and all the new senators, Jake refused to do it. He swore in everyone else, but consistently left out Jim Brewster's name from the entire proceedings.
Sir?
Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman tried to step in to swear in Jim himself, to which Jake and the Republican majority responded by removing Fetterman from presiding over the state Senate and placed Jake in charge of the Senate.
How? The man was legally elected, and now you're taking over the Senate?
I don't know what to tell you, man. I mean, legally, everyone has to concede for the other person to win. I don't know what to tell you here.
I hate this so much.
The Republicans were asked, hey, when are you going to fill this seat, by the way? And they said, well, once we're done looking through the election, then we'll decide whether or not he should be seated or not.
Oh my God.
To which the Supreme Court said, fuck you, seat him. Legally, you have to sit him.
Yep.
And then, 8 days later, they finally seat Jim Brewster.
Finished their pouty tantrum.
Yep.
And did their job.
Of course, Jake also has a culture war-laden platform. He wants to ban all future attempts at vaccine, mask, and pandemic mandates. He wants to audit the 2020 Pennsylvania election. And he vows to fight, quote, woke culture. And he will do so by having more cops and forcing social media to adhere to the First Amendment, something that only the government has to do.
Christ.
He's also endorsed by Kellyanne Conway, so.
Oh, no.
But I will repeat, he is polling 4%. Jake has no chance.
I can't, yeah.
Look, if his dad was senator before this, I'd be a little worried, but I think we're okay.
Yeah, he could have just been like a nothing little schlub cashing his check.
Mm-hmm. He could have been the king of his county. That's all he needs. But you know what? Since Jake has literally no chance of winning, it's about time to move on to the people who do. First up, polling around 8%, we have U.S. Attorney Bill McSwain. Bill was born in 1969 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. In 1991, he did his bachelor's degree from Yale. In 93, he joined the Marines, and he would lead the Marines with a rank in first lieutenant. And by 2000, he got his law degree from Harvard. In 2003, at the age of 34, he became the assistant U.S. attorney of the Eastern District of Pennsylvania. He'd worked there for 3 years before moving into the private sector to work on just some really sinister shit. So one of the cases that he covered was a case in Chester County where the courthouse had a plaque of the 10 Commandments placed in their building.
Oh, yeah.
Which has come up a number of times in a number of different places where a lot of that is up there just being like, yeah, this is, people will make the argument that it's one of the first examples of law. And so that's why it's there. The subtext, though, is that it's people saying Judeo-Christian values are the basis of law and other religions do not matter.
Yeah. I promise you, if the goal is very first law of humanity, we can find something that predates Moses.
Like, yeah, put up Hammurabi's law if you want to do that shit. Like,
yeah.
You know,
Why
the American Bar
Western civilization?
Yeah, or do like the American Bar Association and just, worship the Magna Carta. It's at least something.
Yeah.
It's at least somewhat secular, kind of.
But that's just it. The point is not to be secular.
Exactly. And so people are like, hey, separation of church and state, can we please take this down? And Bill McSwain said, fuck you, keep it up, and defended the 10 Commandments staying up. The more fucked up thing he did is that in a regional council, the Boy Scouts of America had decided to ban all LGBTQ plus children from joining the Scouts in their area. And Bill said, right on, I will support you on this, and went to court to defend their right of discrimination. And Bill would win both cases.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. As an Eagle Scout, the Boy Scouts, a terrible track record with a lot of things.
So many things.
Yeah. It's,
they're definitely Eagle Scout.
Yeah. It's, I was told it was going to help me out more in life. But after initial college applications, that's fucking it. But yeah, on the upside, I can live in the woods and can't tie knots worth a damn.
Yeah.
So that's how he spent life in the private sector. And during this time, he decided to also kind of make some big news statements. For one, he supported the use of torture in the Iraq War, despite the fact that there is ample evidence that information you gain from victims who are tortured tends to be highly inaccurate.
Mm-hmm.
And also called Colin Kaepernick's protest uninformed and hypocritical.
Oh.
Yep. This is Bill McSwain. This is this guy to a T. And apparently that's the kind of bio that makes Trump think that someone should be promoted to U.S. attorney. And in 2018, he would be made the U.S. attorney of the Eastern District of Pennsylvania.
Oh, no.
Which he would kind of kick off by starting a feud with the district attorney of Philadelphia, a guy by the name of Larry Krasner. So Larry's kind of the perfect foil for someone like Bill McSwain. He is an extraordinarily progressive district attorney. Krasner's history is that he worked a lot of his life in the public defender's office and then opened his own practice, often representing civil rights and protester cases pro bono. In 2018, thanks to the previous district attorney being found guilty of bribery, Larry started to consider entering the race. Before he even made an official announcement, cops began losing their shit and derided him as a terrible choice and anti-police, which caused Larry to enter the race.
Good.
After Larry's run was made official, one head of the Fraternal Order of Police in the area would claim that Krasner would be an awful DA due to promising to not seek charges against people who had been illegally detained by police, because Larry had a history of suing cops for corruption and brutality.
How do I go back in time and vote for him?
Yeah. I will give you a spoiler. Larry did win re-election for DA in Philadelphia. He is there. He is well liked.
Good times.
So Larry ends up winning the race, and he then proceeded to just enact a ton of very interesting changes. For one, he refused to try anyone with charges related to weed. He instructed prosecutors to stop seeking cash bail for people charged with misdemeanors and nonviolent felonies. He told prosecutors to drop charges against sex workers who had fewer than 3 convictions, and place charges against pharmaceutical companies who financially benefited from the opioid epidemic that was ravaging Philadelphia at the time.
Oh my God, I could cry.
Krasner also began an exoneration unit to look into questionable convictions by the past corrupt district attorney. By May 2021, they had exonerated 20 people.
20
people.
20 people whose lives were deeply affected by this.
Yep.
And not for the better.
Piece of shit.
Wow.
And finally, there was Larry's work of looking into the Philadelphia Police Department. In 2018, he began compiling a list of all cops who had been caught lying on duty, who had used excessive force, racially profiled people, or violated civil rights. In 2020, he would place charges on a SWAT cop by the name of Richard Nicoletti for pepper spraying protesters point blank as they were kneeling, for yanking down a woman's mask before spraying her, and for spraying a man multiple times while he was lying on the ground. And a judge would drop these charges in 2021 because our system of justice is just perfect. So of course, this is the kind of guy that McSwain hates. And to be fair, he did have there's an actual reason why his hate for Larry Krasner is so deep. And this involves a man by the name of Hassan Elliott. So Hassan would be arrested for cocaine possession in 2019. He'd be released with a court date set in the future. And 1 week later, though, Elliott would murder a man by the name of Tyrone Tyree. Responding to this, Krasner would drop the drug charge and focus instead on the murder charge and place an immediate warrant for Elliott's arrest. When the cops went to arrest Elliott, a shootout ensued, killing Officer James O'Connor. And in Bill's mind, if we just detained everyone who committed a nonviolent drug charge, then that cop would still be alive.
No, he's not coming back.
No. Yeah, apparently Larry Krasner tried to visit O'Connor at the hospital, and the Philadelphia police created an arm chain around the hospital to keep him from entering.
Oh my God, wanking motion.
Yeah, it's like, I'm sorry, but I don't think everyone who does a little cocaine is going to murder a cop in a few weeks. It's, dare I say it, part of your fucking job.
Yeah, let's okay, maybe you're concerned because a number of cops have done cocaine and have in fact murdered innocent people.
Maybe planted cocaine on innocent people.
Maybe that's why you're all like jacked on this one particular related charge.
It's a whole Rube Goldberg of placing blame. And yeah, you don't have a crystal ball. You don't know that this guy is going to kill someone who the cops really don't seem to give a fuck about, and then kill a cop in the process of him being arrested for said murder.
Also, just like chill out. This is a culture of, I don't know, it's just so masturbatory over this idea of like, we could be killed at any time. And it's the toughest job. And that's why we need billions of dollars funneled into every police office in the country. It's like, well, great. You're right. It is a dangerous job.
And to that, I say lumberjacks.
Yeah.
Deep sea fishermen.
Go oil rig. I don't know.
It's a very frustrating argument that they're making for a person that they were just honestly looking for a reason to hate even more. So while Larry tried to change the system in Philadelphia, McSwain did everything he could to keep things the same. McSwain would also spend $75,000 of the U.S. Attorney's Office's money on billboards that stated, quote, "Gun crime equal Fed time, no parole every time." And 1/3 of the billboard also showed McSwain's face, which kind of made it like a campaign poster, which, kind of a big no-no. McSwain and Krasner would come face-to-face a couple of times. For one, McSwain fought to prosecute as many Black Lives Matter protesters as he possibly could. But the other big case involved a group called Safe House. Now, the org was created to build a safe injection site in the Kensington neighborhood of Philadelphia. The idea behind safe injection sites is that people can come in and then use drugs under the supervision of a medical professional. And while this does sound like, hey, we're letting people do drugs wherever with the guarantee they won't be arrested, on its face, that does sound chaotic. I can, you'd approached mid 2000s Dusty and said that, I'd be like, that sounds fucking dumb. But older, wiser Dusty has learned since then. And these programs have a bit of a twofold sort of thing. For one, it cuts down on the number of overdoses that occur. If you are doing drugs and there is a medical professional there who can give Narcan or can administer some sort of medical aid, if you begin to overdose, it's going to guarantee fewer and fewer people die, which I would dare say is a very pro-life way to look at it.
Indeed, Dusty. Indeed.
The other issue is that there seems to be this weird idea that in all forms of addiction, the process is you choose to quit and then you do.
Yeah.
It's a very, very linear sort of idea, but that's not even anywhere close to the reality. The Recovery Research Institute did their own study a few years ago and found that the average number of attempts that people need to reach sobriety rests between 2 or 5. And that, especially with opioids, an extraordinarily addictive drug, it's not as easy as just saying, I'm done. There are going to be failures along the way. And if you're in a state where you're trying really hard to quit, but you're just at a point where you can't, having that injection site to know that, like, I'm going to relapse, but I'm going to be okay. And I'm going to live to quit another day. That is extraordinarily important. And I think it's very human to realize that there are mistakes along the way and we can't punish people with death for when an extraordinarily addictive substance takes over their lives.
Yeah. Yeah. And recovery is twofold. You're right. It's we have it so wrapped up in this Puritan mindset of just like, pick yourself up by the bootstraps and you're going to do this, and willpower, and you're going to do it all on your own somehow. And then that also creates this really aggressive and painful black and white scenario of addiction and recovery, where it's like, you're either a trash human being who is never going to get better and doesn't deserve any kindness, or the fact that, like, so as a result, you're, the minute that you use again and it's a dirty needle and it's unsafe and you can overdose, but in the back of your head, you're thinking to yourself, well, I can't possibly get clean.
Yeah.
And so you're probably more likely to overdose as a result in that regard, because your self-worth is just tanked.
You're very right. It is that puritanical thing of just people deserving what they get when their lives are taken over by something. And, it's why when people are working to handle their alcohol addiction, no one's ever considered cured of that. You're always in recovery. The chance to relapse is always going to be there. It's just, about your support system and, just taking it one day at a time. And literally anything could throw someone off into that. And I don't think that people deserve to die when that happens. Yeah. So the fun thing about this too is the Kensington neighborhood was polled on what they thought about this idea. 90% of residents supported the idea. 63% of businesses supported the idea, because if someone's in a safe space to do drugs, that means they're not on the street. They're not going to go outside and potentially harass your employees or customers.
Yeah. Those needles aren't littering the sidewalk.
100%. I'm going to bring up the fact Portugal does this. And alongside the fact they've decriminalized all drugs in Portugal, so that it's not an entirely fair comparison to make. But after installing injection sites in Portugal, there's been a 60% increase in people who seek treatment, a 90% reduction in drug-related HIV infection, and Portugal has the lowest rates of drug-related death in all of Europe. It blows my mind. But like I said, they decriminalized all drugs, so it's kind of, it's hard to compare. Side effect of decriminalizing drugs, though, that I found really funny, it tanked the black market for drugs. They are so cheap right now that it's almost not worth it to have that be a business for you.
It's also one of those things where, like, as you're saying this, it's like, oh, they decriminalized all drugs. Like, ooh, maybe I'll go to port. Wait, I'm not. I'm not interested in doing all the drugs. And maybe that's just like my age. But it's also like, no, I'm good.
Yeah. It's like, I don't want to do mushrooms. My imagination is bad enough. I would not treat myself well.
Yeah, I got things to do.
And so McSwain looked at all of this and he said, fuck you, I'm taking Safe House to court. And while he would lose the first round, he appealed and would end up winning because he was able to compare injection sites to crack houses and was able to make that connection. And the court found that they were illegal based on a 1986 anti-drug bill.
But the neighborhood wanted it. This is, like, I'm so angry just on that. I'm just like, again, you are removing like quite a bit of the democratic nature of what's going on.
Quite a bit, yeah. I think it's this thing where on the outside looking in, I know a lot of people think, we live in Chicago. I'm sure a lot of people think it's just, gunfights and violence all the goddamn time.
Yes.
And so people end up creating this image of what cities are like. And so I'm sure people like McSwain are like, no, I'm saving you from yourselves.
Yeah.
I
watched The Wire.
So in 2021, a week before Joe Biden took office, McSwain resigned, which is pretty typical. If a new administration is coming in, you politely resign so that they can put in who they want. Also, so you don't get fired.
Yeah. Not a good look.
Larry Krasner's office would put out a statement saying that they would hope the successor would be, quote, someone with a sense of humanity. Prior to this, McSwain would claim that he reached out to Trump, telling him that there were people making claims to his office with proof of election fraud. And he went straight to Attorney General Bill Barr with this information. You know what Bill Barr told him? He said, you're not allowed to make any public statements. You're not allowed to investigate this. Just move on. And Bill Barr said, this is bullshit. That conversation did not happen. You're just making shit up to try to get Trump's endorsement for the race.
Oh my God.
And yeah, you guessed it. His platform is mostly platitudes and culture war phrases, but he does have one bit of detail that he calls his pillars of education reform.
Oh no.
Like any good set of pillars, there's three. There's Ionic,
Dorian,
and the third. Ptolemaic.
No, wait, it starts with C. Why can't I remember?
Why were we taught this, Una?
I willingly went towards it in college. Well, yeah, so 3, fine.
Yeah. So number 1, pledge to never accept any money from teachers' unions, which I will say, I do not think they are going to be giving you any, sir.
They need all the money they can get.
Yeah, so done and done. 2, restore power to parents through the Parents' Bill of Rights, which we'll get to. And 3, promote true educational opportunity by providing for school choice, which includes A, increased access to charter schools, B, increased access to tax credit scholarship programs, and C, the curation of education opportunity accounts that fund the child instead of funding the failing system, which is a nice way of saying the funding for your school is associated with the student. If they decide to go to another school, then the funding goes with them to that other school, leaving the school that may need that money with less money.
Yeah, it's all a very obtuse way of saying, fuck your integration.
Yep, 100%.
Let's bleed the public school system dry.
But what is this Parents' Bill of Rights? Well, it's something Bill made up, and there's 6 parts to it. 1, right to have your child educated free from hateful ideologies like CRT and other racist rhetoric. 2, right to have your child educated free from political indoctrination of any sort, which, from what I've been reading this year, if you tell people Christopher Columbus was a jerk, kicked out. If you have any diverging opinions on America's birth, you're gone. The right to know everything that your child is being taught, which I find funny because I still don't know most of the things that I was taught when I was in school. And
I love this after, what was it, 4 years ago or so, there was a real push to try to update the way math was taught, and all of the parents had the biggest hissy fit. And it was just like, yeah, because you just use a calculator on your phone, and now you're pissed off that you might have to spend 20 minutes with your kid after dinner.
Yeah. 100%.
As they try to figure out, and like, sure, it's not perfect, but it's like there are iterations and it'll improve.
To be fair, their kids are real shitty, and I wouldn't want to spend time with them. Yeah, I like the idea of, if I was a parent, to be like, yeah, I'd like to see the syllabus. I want to know what's coming up so I can prepare to help my kid and all that. I guarantee not a single parent is going to read a 20-page syllabus of what everyone's going to learn throughout the year.
I would absolutely do that with sex education, but not the way that Bill intends.
Yes.
Like, nope. Where are the dental jam talks? Where's any language on organs? I
would really like to talk about this segment et al. Stork. Really curious about that one. Are you teaching my kid how to fuck birds? That's what I want to know, because I want in. 4, the right to know and have control over administrative decisions related to your child. It's called a PTA, and you can join it.
Yeah, and they already have too much power.
And also, to go back to 3, they're called parent-teacher meetings. You can fucking go to them.
Yeah, no, it's that classic thing of just like, no, all of this does exist. You have to be involved in your child.
Yeah, you have to choose to get involved, not when you're pissed off that someone's reading To Kill a Mockingbird at school.
Yep.
5, right to an in-person education, which I think is a ban of any sort of over Zoom education. And 6, right to a comprehensive quality education that meets your child's needs. which, yeah, I mean, I can read that either way. It's just being like, good book learning. Here you go.
Yeah, it's so painfully vague that like I can read that and think it's like, well, that undoes several points that I just read if we're really after this.
And also,
Like
what do
even
you think school already is?
Yep. No, I mean, that's just it. It's like the anti-intellectualism of all of this. It's just like, so the point is that these kids are in daycare for 8 hours while the parents work 2 to 3 jobs.
Yeah. Like to steal an ancient meme, we've been had all this. This is so yeah, let's move on from Bill. I hate him. I hate his face. I hate he looks like there's a character actor. Have you seen The Good Place?
Yeah.
The guy who runs hell, like that sort of boring white dude who he looks like that guy.
Who plays like a bunch of like doctors and judges and
and bosses. Yes. Yeah, that guy.
Oh
he looks like that guy. He's like an unfun version of that guy.
No.
And now we move on to a mystery. It's time for Mysteries, Una. Our first candidate polling more than 10%, former county commissioner and HVAC contractor Dave White. And Una, for the life of me, I have no idea how he's polling this well.
Nice.
He only served one term as county commissioner in Delaware County, lost in 2017, and since then he's been focusing on his HVAC work. Part of me thinks that people are assuming he's UFC head Dana White, but I really don't know. I looked a little. I think actually what it is he spent $4 million of his own dollars to consistently run ads across the state, and I think that's what's doing it.
Okay, yeah, stay mysterious.
The other thing is, up until this weekend, his website didn't even have a platform or list of issues. It was just like, about me, money. And so I was prepared to go into this being like, how the fuck does this guy have all this support? I don't get it. But he snuck and went in right under the wire, like hours before we started this podcast. I had to read his fucking page.
Oh my goodness.
And he has one topic that he's covering. He has a 6-point plan for improving services for people with special needs. And honestly, it's all good. It's really good. It's all about shortening wait lists for social services, improving the range of housing options, reviewing the entire system to see if anything can be fixed, and providing more career opportunities for people with special needs. It's clear cut and it's good. I like it. And then I watched his ads, and his campaign ads are all about, we got to fund the police, we got to end sanctuary cities, we got to lower gas taxes, and pour all of our money into natural gas research, and that's it.
Wait, but the special needs. Who wrote the special needs? What happened to that guy?
I know, right? Well, I'm sure it'll shock you beyond words. That is there because he has a special needs son. Not because he cares about other people. It's a direct interest to him.
It happened to me, the GOP memoir of platforms.
Yep, 100%. But you know what? It's a good platform. I'd love to see other people pick it up.
Yeah.
Good job on that, Dave. Since Inchezama, you have been the first person to introduce an idea that I don't think is pure evil.
Yeah, anything? Right.
So yeah, that's it for Dave White, the man polling in third. Which brings us to the two guys who are statistically tied for first, both polling around 20%. And yes, it's going to take 20% of the vote this year to become the nominee to run for governor on the GOP side.
Yikes.
And it's kind of hard to pick who's the least frustrating to start with. But I think I have to go with former Congressman Lou Barletta. Lou was born in 1956 in Hazleton, Pennsylvania. He'd graduate from Bloomsburg University with a bachelor in elementary education, but would eventually make the shift to business. According to Lou, with an investment of $29.95, he would begin Interstate Road Marking Corporation, a pavement company that does all the little paintings on the roads, but also does pavement too. It's a 2-for-1.
Ooh.
And he grew that into one of the largest businesses of its kind in the area. A real rags to riches sort of story, ignoring the fact that the Barletta family owns multiple businesses across the area.
Come on. Enough with that $29 in your pocket that you used to start the business.
Look, man, I know for a fact that was the incorporation fee to make the business. That's all it was. He had plenty of, you're not buying a fucking paving truck for $29.95, you fuck.
By these rules, everyone started their business with $29.
Exactly. I'm assuming road paint's probably more expensive than house paint. You have to buy a lot of yellow.
Yeah.
And so one of the crazier things, the Barletta family owned an entire amusement park in the Pocono Mountains called Angela Park.
Get out.
Yeah, it's
probably during Pocono's heyday. They're doing fine.
50s to the 80s, yeah.
Oof. Oh, yeah. No one puts Bartlett's in a corner.
Yep. So in 1995, Lou would decide to make the jump into local politics, running for the Hazleton City Council. He would lose, but got 23% of the vote. He'd try again in 97 when the council went from 2 to 3 members, and this time won with only 18% of the vote. And after 2 years on the council, Lou decided, you know what, I'm due for a promotion. I think I deserve better. I should be mayor.
Boy.
Which he easily won 65 to 35.
Whoa.
Without even finishing that term, Lou was like, I need another promotion. I'm running for Congress.
Oh, Lou.
So he tries running for the 11th district, but ends up losing 56 to 42. But it's one of those areas where you don't have to give up your previous job if you're running for another. So he just stayed mayor. He stays mayor, wins re-election in 2003 and 2007. In one of those years, he wins both the Republican and Democratic primaries.
What?
Yeah, the guy running for the Democratic primary had been a former mayor and had done such a bad job. Everyone's like, nah, we're good with Lou.
Oh my goodness.
So during that time, he would make national news due to a blight that was attacking his little town of Hazleton. Turns out Hazleton had too many brown people.
Where is this going?
So Lou wouldn't say it that bluntly, but he would note in the year 2000, the Hispanic Latino population in town was around 5%. By 2006, it was 30%. And clearly, this is because they all illegally came here. So spoiler alert ahead of time, this wasn't true. All of these people had come here legally. All were from the Dominican Republic, or more specifically, the city of San Jose Ocoa. People found a community in Hazleton where they could build their lives with success. Word spread back home, and more people came to Hazleton to find the same happiness.
Yeah. It's like... I feel like if the minute you start talking about immigration, there should be a law where you have to say the statement that you're intending to say, but replace whatever brown people, Mexicans, M13, whatever, with Italians or Irish. And if you hear yourself and you realize you sound like a fucking tool and it sounds ridiculous, then stop.
I'm sure you're not going to find it very odd, but the majority white population in Hazleton are Italian, Irish, and German. People who all had a great time coming to America.
I promise you, none of us are originally from here.
Yep. So Lou, being, the reactionary he is, ends up passing the Illegal Immigration Relief Act in the city. This allowed the city to deny business permits to anyone who hired undocumented workers and fine landlords $1,000 for leasing to anyone who wasn't documented. It also made English the only official language in the city, which banned city employees from translating documents without previous approval.
Oh, come on. We don't even have like a national language in the US. That law should be illegal.
Yeah. Well, funny you should say that because the ACLU and the Puerto Rican Defense Education Fund were like, yeah, I don't have anything to do. Let's go to Pennsylvania.
Yes.
And immediately sued Lou. In 2007, the act would be found unconstitutional due to violating federal immigration laws and basic due process for individuals. The ruling was appealed up to the Supreme Court, who refused to hear the case. In 2014, the town was ordered to reimburse the ACLU $1.4 million in legal fees that hadn't been paid since the decision was made. And the town at that time was already $6 million in debt.
Yeah, because you keep trying to fuck over your tax base.
Yep. But Lou would end up riding that wave, becoming a conservative hero, making the rounds on Fox News, on radio stations, also on multiple fringe anti-immigration white nationalist outlets.
Ugh.
This would end up being unearthed in the future, and Lou would say, obviously, I didn't know they were hate groups. And a spokesman for him would state that since Lou was the mayor of a small town, he didn't have the resources at hand to vet everyone who wanted an interview, noting that one day Lou gave 27 interviews.
What? So he didn't have the internet?
Look,
27?
We don't have the money to ask Jeeves. I'm sorry. In
in
2007 when the internet was working well.
It was perfectly fine. Yeah. We had MySpace. Like, come on.
Yeah. If I can have rotating GIFs on a site, you can look up whether or not you're talking to a white nationalist.
YouTube was 2 years in business.
Hey, Lou, how many people did you talk to who 100 years ago would not have let you on their channel? So in this story, we do get a happy ending and a weird, unexpected hero. Former Chicago Cubs manager Joe Madden grew up in Hazleton, and when he heard what Lou was doing, he was pissed off. And so he went back to Hazleton and decided, I'm going to help the Dominicans who are living here feel more at home. He ended up heading up the Hazleton Integration Program to help all new arrivals feel at home and encourage more people to move there. Over the years, the new arrivals would start businesses, they improved the once shuttered Wyoming Street corridor, and turned the dying city into a thriving community. And in 2016, 52% of the population were Hispanic or Latino.
Yeah. And with a thriving downtown.
Which, in a steel coal belt,
Oh,
That's a pretty big win.
you should be so lucky, Pennsylvania.
Yeah. It's stated that outside of New York City, Hazleton has one of the largest enclaves of Dominicans in the entire country.
Nice.
Yeah, and Hazleton as a city is completely thriving. The thing though is Lou didn't completely lose in all of this, because in the wake of his new national fame, he decided, you know what, I do deserve that raise. I should go to Congress. He ran in 2008. He got the endorsement of David Duke, which is something.
It is something.
And once again, Lou would lose, but he decided to give it another go in 2010. And this time he ended up winning a seat in Congress over Democrat incumbent Paul Kanjorski, 55 to 45. Lou would win 3 more terms after that, placing most of his efforts on anti-immigration issues. But by 2018, he would get a personal request from President Donald Trump. He wanted Lou to run for Senate. Now, Trump had seemingly been impressed by Lou's staunch support of the Muslim travel ban, and Lou went so far as to call the countries in the ban as, quote, terrorist havens and hotspots. Lou would easily win the Republican primary with the endorsement of Trump, but he got his ass beat by the popular Democrat Bob Casey, because the Casey family in Pennsylvania, very well liked. So Lou would move back into the wallpaper, quietly starting a consulting firm. He served on the board of directors for World for Brexit. That went well. He also made a brief cameo as a fraudulent delegate in 2020, where a number of states just decided to have their own electoral college vote, where they had Trump delegates, even though the state was won by Biden, and tried to submit those as the actual delegates.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And yeah, Lou's running for Senate again. And you bet his platform is all bullshit and no plans. Because this is the fucking theme now, is people are figuring out you don't have to have plans. You just have to sound mad enough. And apparently that's all you fucking need. But he's not quite the worst, Una. That would have to go to our last person. Doug Mastriano was born in 1964 in New Brunswick, New Jersey. He'd get his bachelor's degree in history from Eastern University in 1986 and then joined the Army, entering with the rank of second lieutenant. In 1991, he'd serve in Operation Desert Storm, then began a very long career in military education. To summarize, 1992, he gets his master's in strategic intelligence from the National Intelligence University. 2001, he gets his second master's degree in air power theory from Air University. And all of these universities are like military-run sorts of things. So if you hadn't heard of them before, that's why.
Okay.
In 2002, he gets his third master's degree in military operational art and science from Air University. 2010, he gets his fourth master's degree in strategic studies from the U.S. Army War College. And in 2013, he gets his PhD in history from the University of New Brunswick in Canada. His thesis for his PhD would turn into the book Alvin York, a new biography of the hero of the Argonne. And just so we're not talking about terrible people all the time, I'm going to take a break to talk about Sergeant Alvin York, because he's probably one of the most, I would say, commonly least known American war hero, but he is the most decorated of American soldiers from World War I. Prior to serving in the Army, Alvin was what one would call a real rascally motherfucker.
Ooh.
He is a resident of Tennessee, and he was prone to violent alcoholic outbursts and bar fights.
Oh, that kind of rascally.
Oh, yeah, he was an ornery son of a bitch, as he would say. But he was also very heavily devoted to his family and a very good shot. At the age of 28, Alvin would attend a tent revival of the Church of Christ and Christian Union, a faith that wasn't like specifically pacifist, but would often preach in opposition to violence in all of its forms. Like if you had to fight, sure, but don't go looking for one. And Alvin would change his drinking ways and focus entirely on his family after that. In 1917, America had entered World War I, and since Alvin was 29, he was legally required to register for the draft. In the draft form, he was asked if he had an exemption, and he wrote, yes, don't want to fight.
Yeah, fair, same.
I love this guy far too fucking much. So they said, no, you gotta fight. And he would apply for conscientious objector status, which means, you know, you're doing things like medical work or paperwork, reporting, things like that, anything other than fighting, but he would be denied. After training, he was sent to the lines in France. On October 8th, 1918, his battalion was in the midst of fighting the Germans in northeast France. They were pinned down by heavy machine gun fire, and the Americans would mount an attack, but Alvin noted that nearly everyone who went forward was immediately shot down. York and 18 others were then ordered to find the German machine gunners in the nearby hills and take them out. And initially, the group had successfully taken the headquarters of the German unit, but they would shortly be attacked by military gunners that they had not seen. 6 of the people in the 18 were killed, 3 were wounded, knocking the number of soldiers down to 10. And the Americans returned fire, but Alvin York, he chose to rain hell. Using his sharpshooting skills, Alvin began picking off 30 Germans firing down at them, all yelling the entire time, essentially, please stop. I want to kill as few of you as possible.
I don't like this.
Yes, please let me stop killing you. A German officer and several of his men tried to flank Alvin, but were met with Alvin's pistol and his perfect aim, shooting all of them down when they tried to flank him. Another officer, a first lieutenant, had begun trying to kill Alvin with his pistol, but when he missed every single shot, he instead chose to surrender in English and offered the entire unit to Alvin.
Damn.
And how big that unit was is best described by Alvin's brigadier general reacting to his return. 7 of the 19 sent to take the German position came back, leading the German prisoners. The brigadier general said, quote, "Well, York, I hear you captured the whole German army." To which York said, "No, sir, I only got 132.
Oh my God.
They then immediately promoted him to sergeant.
Yeah. Great.
Good. Well done. We'll get you some buttons. He received a total of 50 medals for his actions that day from the United States, France, Italy, and Montenegro. He would be given a hero's welcome in New York City, and once he returned to Tennessee, he met back up with his fiancée, and the literal governor of the state married them 1 week later.
Oh.
He would be offered thousands of endorsement deals, speaking fees, and movie rights, but he turned them all down, choosing instead to lend his name to charitable and civic causes. He would eventually allow a movie to be made, but only so that he could finance an interdenominational Bible school alongside the other vocational schools that he had helped create. Sergeant York would star Gary Cooper, was directed by Howard Hawks, received 11 Oscar nominations and won 2.
Ooh.
So naturally, someone would want to tell the story about this guy. And Doug was most interested in trying to find the historical holy grail surrounding Sergeant York. Where the fuck did this specifically happen? So Doug would travel to France, and this is kind of where things get a little fucky. Going with Doug is a guy named Brad Posey, and he'd been hired on to be a member of Doug's expedition team to find the battlefield. Pretty quickly, he found the archaeology mission to be not of very high quality. Quote, "The team was a U.S. Army or Air Force officer using a very cheap-looking metal detector with no experience in metal detecting, and a Danish Army officer and a friend of Mastriano and a U.S. Civil Service employee using also a very cheap-looking metal detector." After a bit of working with this team and their 2 beachcombing detectors, Posey decided he was going to go and work for the rival team trying to do the same thing just a few miles down the road.
God.
So this other team was run by a guy named Dr. Tom Nolan. Nolan was going about this thing completely different, using historical documents and maps that were drawn by the people who walked the site with York after it happened. But Doug had, well, he found 46 spent rifle rounds. Some of them were German ammunition. Also found a German gun. So, this is where it happened.
Good. Let's break for lunch.
Yeah. So Doug then claimed that this was the spot, got a bulldozer, bulldozed the area to place 2 monuments there, and then created a road for people to go to the monuments.
No.
Lieutenant Colonel Taylor Beatty would note that by bulldozing the site, it made it impossible for other historians to come and confirm Doug's findings, which quite frankly seemed to be the point.
Ooh.
Because Doug had also been warned by Beatty that he wasn't annotating his research well enough for others to peer review it. On top of that, a guy by the name of James Gregory, a doctoral student at the University of Oklahoma, who was very focused on the actions of Sergeant York during the war, found 30 citations in Doug's book that he found to be fraudulent. Following this, Doug's publishers, the University of Kentucky, presented Doug with these 30 issues and told him to respond before November 2021 so that they could publish a new edition addressing these concerns. If he chose not to, though, quote, "The press will suggest revisions and have the outside peer reviewer approve them. So if you don't make these changes, we're going to, and we're going to write your book."
Ooh, amazing.
I have
Love it.
no idea if he ever responded. I would assume no.
Yeah.
So in 2017, Doug would retire with the rank of colonel and swiftly hopped into Pennsylvania politics. In 2018, he would run for Congress, but would finish 4th out of the GOP primary with 16% of the vote. Undeterred, he set his sights a little lower. He ran for state senate in the special election in 2019. Instead of there being a primary vote for who would end up getting the nomination, it was done by the local party. And in Gettysburg, they would end up giving him the spot. And since it's a very heavily Republican district, essentially gave him the job.
Yeah.
Doug would end up winning 68-32, which is even more disturbing when you look at Doug's Facebook. Because during this time, his campaign had a private page that you would get invited to if you were a supporter. And the page was just an art gallery of Islamophobia.
Yikes.
Such lowlights of what he posted included, quote, "Islam wants to kill gay rights, Judaism, Christianity, and pacifism." He would insinuate that Muslims purposely burned down the Notre Dame Cathedral before it was later found to be a construction accident. His entire evidence for this was a picture that was taken near Notre Dame when it was burning down, and it was just 2 dark-skinned guys who were laughing. And PolitiFact would later note that this picture had been doctored. And that picture and those claims was started by Russia Today, the political arm of Russia.
The Matryoshka doll of all of this hatred.
Yep. Doug would also share an article calling the increase in Muslims running for public office a, quote, "dangerous trend." He pushed a conspiracy theory that Ilhan Omar had backed an attempted murder at the Mall of America. I tried to find out what the fuck this was, and I can't. Amidst all the other Ilhan Omar conspiracy theories, this one just is like a B-side. No one really talks about it.
It's a deep cut.
But also, he's not just going to focus on Muslims. He would also state that Planned Parenthood and hospitals were purposely killing babies for reasons.
Question mark, profit.
And then this old chestnut, Obama wasn't born here.
I mean, that's just a classic.
I know you got to play the classics. People expect it. You know, you could play that deep cut of Mall of America, but you got to follow it up with the song everyone loves. You got to, pay it forward. Balance out those sets. So when he and the local GOP were called out on this, they replied in a very unique way. In the past, it would usually be apologies and statements and just vagaries. Doug just ignored it. He kept everything up and just didn't acknowledge that this was even an issue and moved on.
Not even I know you are, but what am I?
Nope, not even that. It's just like, I don't even think about you, and just moving on. Wow. Which is even more fucked up because in 2020, when this information came out, he won by an even wider margin of victory for re-election, 69-31. Which means since he's going to 2020, we get a really unique look at Doug because most people are very high on election fraud shit. Doug does a sampler platter of all the issues. We'll start with COVID because Doug took a really weird first step into COVID. So on March 17th, 2020, he would try to get a bill passed to have HIPAA suspended. And so HIPAA has a lot of misunderstanding these days. The basic gist is your medical history cannot be given to anyone unless you give permission.
Right, which is why you always have to sign a document now when you go to any doctor's visit.
This does not mean that people aren't allowed to ask if you've had certain vaccinations. There are certain instances where you have to prove vaccination to get into things, like kindergarten.
College.
Yeah, exactly. There are certain areas where, HIPAA does not apply. HIPAA is very specifically the doctor cannot randomly give out or sell your information. That's literally it. And so Doug wanted to suspend HIPAA because he wanted to create a database, a public database, mind you, of the names and addresses of everyone who had COVID.
Oh my God.
Which at the time is 116 people. But still very highly illegal and also would have been very difficult to update when things got very bad.
Yeah, this isn't a sex offender registry. And that too should also be like that should just be stopped, frankly.
Yeah, or at least updated to not include people who were caught peeing in public.
Yes.
And so I'll give this to Joe Gale. This is one of the things that the rest of his, I didn't want to bring it up earlier. Joe Gale fucking hates Doug Mastriano with a passion. And one of the things he brings up is the fact that Doug wanted to reveal everyone who had COVID and suspend HIPAA. I hate to say it, Joe, you're right. You're fucking right, man. It's a shitty thing for someone to try to do. By the 28th of March, though, Doug would get into line with what we all expect people like him to be like today, and just started fighting against any sort of mandates, vaccines, or masks. By April 20th, he was leading his own anti-lockdown protest. On July 22nd, he was holding a mask burning in Gettysburg, just doing the whole song and dance there.
Woof.
And as if 2020 would be busy enough for Doug, he also made himself the face of claiming election fraud happened in Pennsylvania. He called for the resignation of the Pennsylvania Secretary of the Commonwealth. He demanded a recount of the votes, even though the state said they wouldn't do it. He held a 4-hour public meeting about voting irregularities that featured Rudy Giuliani and a call-in from Trump, which also included Trump inviting everyone on the panel to come to the White House later that day, which they did, which a number of them did, including Doug. So the funny thing about this is Doug goes to the White House, he meets Trump, he's glad-handing folks, and then someone rushes into the room and is like, you gotta go. I was like, why the fuck do I have to go? Paraphrasing, you have COVID.
Oh my God.
He had been given a rapid test when he showed up to the White House, but you know how things are. You want to meet people. And so instead of waiting for the results, waiting 15 fucking minutes, he went to the president, started shaking hands, started meeting people while he had fucking COVID.
Just shedding COVID everywhere.
Yeah.
Breathing heavily.
It is insinuated he gave a couple people at that 4-hour meeting who were in the state legislature COVID.
100%.
So he ends up, I don't know if he has long COVID or anything, but he lives, which means that he gets to go to the next cool thing of the year, the coup, because he was there.
Oh.
Not only was he there, he organized buses to go down there. And there is a video showing him with his wife right in front of protesters as they were throwing police barricades aside so they could invade Congress.
It's good to have video. And then it pops up every now and then on your memories from Apple.
Hey, you remember that time we tried to do a coup?
Yeah.
Good memories. That was a good time. One with my wife, very romantic. This is so much better than the last time I gave the president COVID. As is tradition now, Doug doesn't have a platform, but he does have one thing that no one else has. He's endorsed who he wants to win for lieutenant governor. Now, Pennsylvania is a bit different from other states where in most states, if you're running for governor, you get to pick who your lieutenant governor is going to be, and it's a whole ticket. In Pennsylvania, you vote separately for governor and lieutenant governor.
Oh.
And the guy that Doug really wants to be as lieutenant governor is a dude by the name of Teddy Daniels. Teddy is an Army veteran, he's a former cop, and he is currently a MAGA activist. Teddy believes the election was stolen. He was on the steps of the Capitol during the coup attempt, so a little bit further than Doug was, and has a history of domestic abuse and police misconduct.
Triple
According to
crown.
Rolling Stone, Daniel's ex-wife referred to him as physically and mentally abusive during their marriage and would harass her at her workplace after the divorce had been finalized. Also, he hasn't just failed to pay her for child support, but also another woman who he had a child with. As a cop, records show that he was found to have, quote, provided deceptive information to an investigator and, quote, used official state records for personal reasons. Also, he seems to have a really hard time staying in departments. In 2010, Teddy was asked to leave the Bel Air Police Department in Maryland, mainly so they wouldn't have to fire him. He would end up taking up a job a little later at the Minersville Police Department in Pennsylvania, and he would be fired, 6 months later.
Wow. Because he's trash. Because he's a trash human being, even for a police department.
Yeah. So his ex-wife claimed in a court filing that Teddy had been fired from the Douglas Township Police Department within 6 months. Teddy responded to this article by losing his shit and made a series of posts indicating he would kick the ass of any magazine staff that had the guts to see him in person.
Oh my God, put this man in jail.
Yeah, this is, I don't want to make assumptions about someone, but if they're saying, I will fucking kill you if you come to town, instead of owning up to provable things you've done. Yeah, yes. It's like, if you are being bounced around multiple police departments to the point that now you can't find a job in a department, yeah, you're probably a really bad person. But yeah, he's who Doug wants to be lieutenant governor of the fucking state.
Oh.
So as we finish up the list of the GOP here, as tradition, we have to ask ourselves, what are the Democrats doing about this? I hate to say it. We've talked about their plans in Texas and Ohio, where they really boost one well-known candidate, and there's like a few other people in the primary, but they're given so little attention that it's pretty much a foregone conclusion. In Pennsylvania, they're taking it a step further. They've picked a guy and ensured that no one else is running against him. This fellow is Attorney General of the state, Josh Shapiro. And he's the automatic nominee since no one's running against him. And, he's not the worst candidate. He has won 2 statewide elections in the time of Trump. I will admit, just barely on both. He was very huge in getting the Catholic Church to face justice in Pennsylvania, finding 3,000 cases of child abuse within the state.
Oh, wow. Good for him.
And he has charged some state lawmakers with corruption. But just like many of his Republican counterparts, Una, he has no platform on his website. I hate to say it. It looks like the plan is wait to see who the Republicans nominate, hope they're garbage, and run on that.
It's 2022. No platform, just vibes.
Look, it's Joe Biden won. We're good. We're just good. Fascism is dead. We're going to be okay. And of course, just before we started, there was a tweet about Josh Shapiro because in Philadelphia, the mayor has enacted a mask requirement because Omicron's losing its fucking mind.
Yeah, it's back.
Yeah, it is.
It never left.
And someone asked Josh, like, hey, as Attorney General, do you support this idea? And Josh did this mealy mouth bullshit of just like, I don't think it's the right idea to be doing this again. I think we've moved past. People know what they're doing. It's fine. And so we have this centrist bullshit of trying to appeal to people. Mm-hmm. I recently saw a political cartoon where it's a donkey because, they're fun with a clipboard says, hey, theoretically, if we cut the budget by 15%, would you support us? And there's another person in a MAGA hat that says, I literally think you eat babies and drink their blood for power. And the donkey's like, okay, what about 20%? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's infuriating. It really sucks. And a part of me was like, I was trying to track this back in 2018 and 2020, trying to figure out how many MAGA candidates were stepping forward and running in the vein of Trump. And it really wasn't that many. For the most part, it was people who were, they'd say the right things, but they were still doing their whole fiscal conservative thing, not really going super hardcore in the culture war stuff, just, being calm with the job they already had and running traditional campaigns. Mm-hmm. This year's starting to feel like the only option that a lot of people are going to have is a sociopath.
Yeah.
And it's such a stark incline of how many of these people in Colorado, they recently had their Republican assemblies to figure out who was going to get on the ballot. They have a weird system where you can either get on the ballot for the primaries by signatures, which is extremely hard, mm-hmm. or you have a party convention and whoever gets more than 30% of the vote from the delegates who are there get placed on the ballot. The top vote getters across the board for senator, governor, and secretary of state were election conspiracy theorists.
Yikes.
And yeah, I hate to be a bummer about this, but when you got like Josh Shapiro coming out being like, I don't know if we need masks anymore, guys. I don't know. I don't really have any plans or anything, but I'm not these guys. That works, right? That worked for Joe in 2020. Let's just let it ride.
Yeah, rather than just having boots on the ground and doing the work of addressing economic inequality, which will bring in the working class voters.
Yeah. So yeah, there's that. Una, let's do this. Fuck, marry, banish.
Fuck, marry, and politely ask to leave.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I would absolutely marry the doctor pulling at 1%.
Yeah. 100%. I think we're both in agreement on that. Like, if we could pick one person for both fuck and marry, I think Dr. Zama would easily win for both.
Probably fuck Melissa Hart, because I think she's the most harmless of like the remaining options.
Yeah, like, she'd use protection. It's
well, yeah. Yes.
I think you're right. Probably, yeah.
Or she would definitely make you pay for the abortion and just like not deal with hypocrisy.
Yeah. And Melissa's Hart's dick would require that you pay for your own abortion. God damn it. Yeah, I agree with that. I think we're both on board for that. Vanish is tough, though. I think Vanish, there's a wide variety of shit.
So many good options.
Yeah, it's a wealth of fuck.
I think for me, Doug, because like crazy military guy is always just like, we need that. Just, yeah,
I get some real ass Mussolini vibes from that guy. It's not great. Like Barletta's already proved that he's a loser in these types of races. He's not going to get Trump's support ever after embarrassing him in 2018. So he's pretty much done. He's never going to go back to Hazleton, so that sounds safe. Yes. I fucking hate Bill McSwain so fucking much. Yes, I would love to banish him.
Yeah, banish him.
You're right though with Doug though. Like Doug's the biggest worry.
Who's the bigger evil?
Yeah, like I could see Bill just like going to some shitty private practice and just disappearing into the ether.
Yeah, like Santorum. He's an evil I know.
Yeah, you will see McSwain every once in a while on MSNBC, and it'll suck, but is what it is. But yeah, Doug Mastriano. He's that sort of guy who I feel like he thinks he's very intelligent. He is speed running his way through elections right now. And that sort of impatience and incompetence and disregard for doing things the right way the first time is dangerous and downright evil.
Any wins by him paved the way for others to walk in his stead, much like his desire to see that ex-cop as lieutenant governor. It's like this is just opening the floodgates.
I fully would expect him and the legislature to pass a lot of anti-trans legislation the second he gets in. Teaching would probably be near impossible. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, we should banish Doug. Try to push Teddy into the suitcase while we're at it. Yeah, so that's that episode. So next week will be a more fun episode talking about the Senate race, because we not only are we going to be talking about Mehmet Oz, we're going to be talking about the front runner for the Senate race, who we talked about a bit in this, Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman.
Yeah,
I don't think I've explained this man to you. He is about 6'20". He seems to weigh the size of a house.
Yeah,
he is a large, intimidating man. With probably one of the best hearts in the world.
Yes.
So it'll be an interesting deep dive into that race.
Yay.
Yeah, for the first time, we actually get to talk about a Democratic primary, because
oh my God,
they decided to let this one go and let multiple people run.
But yeah, let me have choices. I want to choose between Coke and Stardust Coke.
I think that's a wonderful election. And yeah, we'll be talking about that next week here on Gadfly. Gadfly is a production of Added Serotonin. Our episodes are edited by Brianna Valentine of Rem Alternus Productions. Our theme song is Sophomore Makeout by Silent Partner, and you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at GadflyPod.
Ready to level up your cosplay game? Check out the Geek Forge on Etsy. With a variety of props to give your photos that extra spark, you'll find just what you need. Hold magical fire in the palm of your hand, or take a potion to restore your mana. With a large variety of colors, you can choose your own magical flavor for your cosplay. Bring drama to your photo shoots with these vibrant props and more, all available at the Geek Forge. Are you ready to level up your cosplay?